Evening. I want to thank the members of the press who is the continued partner in our democracy. Again, I would like to thank Mr. Craig Woodside, who took the initiative of starting this petition. Today we meet in a time where thousands, if not millions, across the world march in the name of Black Lives Matter. Today we meet in a time where we as Bahamians reflect our own history, and we question the development of that history. Today we meet to ask Bahamians across the Commonwealth to join us in signing a petition for the removal of the statue of Christopher Columbus from Mount Fitz, known as Government Hill. There are some who will argue there are other ways of doing this. There were some who will argue that they should outright remove it. But our democracy gave us the instrument to be able to move and to bring a petition to Parliament. I want to thank our former clerk, Maurice Tynes, who has been advising us on how to get this done. We intend, at the ending of the budget communication, to send a petition to the Parliament on behalf of the Bahamian people for the removal of Christopher Columbus statue. Now, we do recognize that the statue has a place in Bahamian history. It tells the story of a governor who was pro-colored. He was a colleague in the struggle for the people, and he was against slavery. Some would question, why would such a governor, who was an activist on behalf of the people of color, he used this statue to send a message to a white minority? There is a debate. At the time, did they know the crimes of Columbus? And as history progressed, the crimes of Columbus is now known. We cannot allow in the country, as we question who we are as a people, to allow this man with these crimes to exist. There is a larger story. The story reflects who we are as a people. We have to ask the question, do we want someone with this past, someone with this history, to be at the House, to be near the head of our state? That House represents persons from the likes of Samilo Butler to a woman who came from Andros, bare feet, to Monk's Fitz. But our larger story is this. We have to decide who we are as a people. We have to decide what we want to represent. There is a larger question to be asked. As we look at our time as a colonized people, we reflect what freedom means to us. It started from Burma Road riots. It went on to a women's suffrage movement, and majority rule, and the independence. And in 2020, as we look back 100 years now, we look at the crimes of Christopher Columbus. We reflect our history. And we say to Christopher Columbus today, the time is up. Time is up. This is a different country and a different time. There will be those who ask, what should replace Christopher Columbus? Statues should represent who we are as a people. They should represent what we aspire to become. That's my question, and that's my answer. I would invite Mr. Woodside to bring brief remarks.
Good afternoon, all. I brought the petition to the public's eye just to give awareness to what's actually happening now. You know, let's look around the room, let's look around the world. The temperatures are rising, people are speaking up for themselves. We now know the atrocities that has happened to us, and we no longer wish to acknowledge it as it is. We acknowledge it as it is, but we want to move past it. So what we're trying to do is remove this and put more representation here. I would rather see one of our forefathers in this photo, because come on guys, look at it. The statue is outstanding. You know, it's a resemblance of what the people stand for, and that's not what we stand for. We do not stand for murder, rape, or war crimes. So thank you.
Okay. We now invite the members of the press who may have any particular questions. Well, I think one of the things that we have done thus far, we have begun the process of talking to members of Parliament who is prepared to table the petition in Parliament. If we aren't successful, we would have done one thing, at least have a conversation as to who we are and where we are. So this petition has sparked a vigorous debate as to who we are, and it also shed light on the history of Christopher Columbus. So if we aren't successful, which we intend to be successful, we would have at least educated the Bahamian people on the crimes of Columbus. I think the progress has been slow. I think Father Palacious would let you know that 20 years ago they petitioned for the removal and the renaming of Christopher Columbus Day, and is now known as National Heroes Day. And so this progress is an ongoing fight. So we accept the baton from another generation who tried to move this statue. And so we believe that if we could get this statue to Parliament, then the people who represent us have to say where they stand on this issue. I think that's important for us, and I think we owe it to the Bahamian people for their leaders to know where they stand on the issue. No, I don't. I subscribe to the view that history has to be told. I do believe that you cannot only look at the good of history. You have to accept history as it is. I think the story of Columbus must be told, but it cannot be told there. And so I leave it in the hands of the historians and government officials to find what is the rightful place for Columbus. Some may suggest that it should be entirely discarded. I think that the story of Columbus should be told. I don't encourage the uprisement of the destruction of Christopher Columbus statue. I think our democracy gave us the instruments that we must use. We must allow the process to take its course. We must allow Parliament to accept the petition and allow so I think it's important that we allow the instruments of democracy to prevail. The system is working, and we're testing the system. Sorry, I can't hear you. If we, so right now the petition stands at more than 8,000 signatures. We believe by the end of the budget process, it will well exceed more than 15,000 Bahamians. I don't recall the last time a petition has ever been sent to Parliament over the last 5 or 10 years. I could be corrected. So we want to see how our democracy works. I know there will be those of there who say that there are more urgent, pressing matters for Bahamians to petition to. But I think we have to reflect where we are as a society, what's happening around the world, and we have to question ourselves, and we have to embrace the ethos of what it means to be Bahamian. So I want to thank
Is it safe to say that if the PLP gets in power, they would commit to
Well, I could tell you this. The members of Parliament for the PLP has always advocated for the removal of the statue. I have spoken to the chairman of the PLP, Mr. Mitchell, who said that I have a support on the issue. And so there is support on that basis. And I do intend to ask a member of the minority in Parliament to bring this petition to Parliament. And if a member of the government believe in this cause, we will accept it as well. The overall objective is for the petition to get to Parliament. And whoever intends to be the ambassador for the people, we accept it. Let me just make something clear. Yesterday I spoke to Gail Sanders on this statue. When we spoke at the time, she told me that she was conflicted on the matter. I understand, I do appreciate where she stands, and I understand what history means for us. We have to accept and appreciate that 100 years ago, that was a different community. We have progressed as a people, and the things that emulate in our society must reflect who we want and must reflect Bahamian values. So thank you, and I do thank the members of the media. I do thank my colleagues and Mr. Woodside who take the bold initiative of starting the petition, and we will see this process to the end.